Starseeds, Indigo Voyagers, welcome. Today we are talking about strategies to purify your home and 6 houseplants that are vital to the air quality inside your home. This plant right here is known as a bamboo palm, or a Nyanthibella, and they're pretty inexpensive and easy to take care of. They don't really require a lot of water or maintenance. They're pretty affordable as well. I think I bought these for about $4 US, and they're just little guys. And I water them a couple times a week. They just sit in the windowsill. They get maybe 2 hours of sunlight, 2 to 3 hours a day, which is, pretty universal for most houseplants. Houseplants typically need, between 2 and 6 hours, depending on the variety. But 6 hours of solid sunlight in a home is pretty hard to get. So highlight plants are a little more difficult under most, residential circumstances. Another plant I recommend, as you can see here, is the mother-in-law's tongue, also known as the snake plant, or Sansevieria, I believe. And these are very unique plants in the way that they produce oxygen at night. Most plants in the evening tend to sort of draw in oxygen at night, so the O2 levels in your home may drop after sunset because the plants start reabsorbing oxygen. That's the case with most houseplants, but the mother-in-law's tongue produces oxygen throughout the night, which is kind of cool. It's been renowned as a spirit cleanser in the home. Under folklore, it's said to scare away bad spirits or bad energy, and it's kind of an interesting subject in that matter, because in my personal experience, when I first got houseplants, I noticed right away that the air felt different. It changed. It's hard to put into words, but almost essentially, it's like taking a breath of fresh air in the forest. Like, you can just feel this cool, relaxing vibe in your house, and it's sort of magical. And I don't know if everyone will feel this. It depends on your journey. I noticed it. I'm a bit more intuitive than most, but I noticed that it just feels fresher. And that was just with one plant. And as I started to go on a collection of plants, I have well over 25 now in my home. I just noticed that it would increase this freshness and this outdoorsy feeling inside my home. That's what we always crave when we have been in a building for too long, is going outside, being outside with nature, because there's just a lack of natural energy in your home. It's just your own energy. Without any plants, it's just your own energy reflecting back at you. And yeah, there's a degree of influence of plants outside on you as well, but the plants inside your home, these are the ones that cleanse and purify your air and renew the spirit inside the home. So we've covered the Nyanthibella, also known as the bamboo palm, and the snake plant, also known as mother-in-law's tongue. And the third one I want to recommend is the spider plant. The hanging spider plants are pretty cool because they're just so easy to care for. They generally require 3 to 5 hours of sunlight. They can get by on less, but watering, super easy. You could pretty much forget about them and water them twice a week. And you don't really want to water plants more than 3 times a week. They just tend to get waterlogged, and they don't like it, and they need to be in well-draining soil. That is the survival of any houseplant. This is what beginners so commonly mess up on, is I'm going to water it every day and not have adequate drainage. Like, they have a little catch pan, and the catch pan gets waterlogged, and then the plant is just basically sitting in water, drowning. And that's a common problem. They go, why did my plant die? I watered it every day. It was in a sunny windowsill. Well, you probably overwatered it, and the roots got waterlogged and died and rotted. It's a common mistake. I've been there. But if you have well-draining soil, you can make your own. Just usually mix it with a little bit of sand. When you just buy an organic bag of soil, just mix it with a little sand and leave the drain pans off. If you really want to heavily water your plants and don't want them to flood the house, you can just set them on your porch and just water them and soak them down there. I usually do a deep soak with them twice a month, and then light waterings throughout the week. And you want to let it drain out. You want to make sure that the drainage holes on the bottom of the pots are good. When you pick up pots for your plants, you want to make sure that the drainage holes are, nice and large so that the water can run out pretty quickly. And that's really all there is to it with these types of house plants. And I want to introduce you to the fourth plant, and this is the Erica palm. This one is a semi-highlight plant. It probably needs, good at least 3 hours of pretty solid sunlight. I mean, it can do with filtered, but it prefers at least 3 hours of direct sunlight, because as like most palm trees, except the bamboo palm for some reason, most palm trees require high sunlight to really thrive. And it's really easy to take care of them if you give them enough sunlight. Again, it's just all about watering them a few times a week, and they're not real picky about temperature in your house or anything like that. And they're really good at filtering out formaldehyde and things such as that. And the fifth plant I wanted to recommend is the Kimberly queen fern. Now, these can get a little messy, especially if you let them dry out. You can't really overwater a Kimberly fern, so you can leave the little catch tray on the bottom of the pot with ferns, because they can't really be drowned. They thrive in a high water, soggy environment. They're used to living next to creek beds and things like that. So Kimberly queen ferns are, really easy for a beginner that's prone to overwatering, because I generally have never fertilized the ferns I have, and they still look amazing, which is kind of funny. And you can see it here in the picture, it looks great, and I've had it for years. So they're really super easy to care for. The only thing is, when the fronds start to die, some of the older ones will die and they crumble up and make a big mess. So you got to sweep it regularly. Though the Kimberly queen fern is non-toxic, so it's safe around children and pets. It's a really good plant for a beginner. And the sixth plant I wanted to go over was the bamboo, or the Chinese bamboo, or sold as a lucky bamboo. It's a little short bamboo. You can see here in this picture, they're just little stalks that they had essentially stuck in a rocky pot, and you just water them every couple days. Really super easy to care for. If you have it in a bigger pot, they'll grow all the way to the ceiling. So it's nice to have them in little teeny tiny pots, just because you can kind of control their growth, because they will grow prolifically if you let them in the right circumstance. They're technically a high light plant, but I give mine about 2 to 4 hours a day. So you want to put them in your sunniest window sill, and they do just fine with watering. They don't really require drainage or anything. They can stand in water, so they don't really drown like most houseplants. I water mine 2 to 3 times a week, and they do just fine with that. And so I wanted to go over the toxicity of houseplants. Out of the 6 that I listed, the bamboo palm, all palm trees, true palms, are non-toxic. So, for example, the only one that is toxic is a sago palm. It's extremely toxic, but sago palms are not true palm trees. They're actually a cycad, and cycads are related to conifers, pine trees, things like that. They're not actually a palm tree. Isn't that interesting? But true palm trees, such as the Neanthibella or the bamboo palm, they're entirely non-toxic. So they're safe around children and pets. And I verified this myself through poison control. The next one is a spider plant. Again, these are non-toxic and these are safe around pets. And spider plants are extremely easy to care for. You know, they're a great beginner's plant because they pretty much thrive on neglect. You know, you can water them. I water mine a couple times a week. 3 times a week is plenty. And as long as the soil is well draining, they do just fine. I fertilize my plants about twice a year, just a little tiny bit of organic fertilizer. Just, you know, you can buy it at the hardware store where you buy your stuff for your plants or the nursery and whatnot. And it's, you know, just sprinkle a little bit and then you water it, and that should be fine. It's not rocket science or anything like that. Houseplants, I mean, if you've never owned one, some people are like, oh, I'm worried it might kill it. Just don't let it sit in its own water. Just make sure that the pot has lots of drainage holes and let it drain. Palm trees are pretty sensitive to being overwatered. They don't like to just sit in their own water for prolonged periods of time, or they tend to get root rot. So that's the biggest thing to watch out for on houseplants. And if you can give them a sunny windowsill, you know, that gives a couple hours a day, that's generally it. But anyway, back to the toxicity of houseplants. So we have the bamboo palm. This is a non-toxic, safe around kids. We have the spider plant, non-toxic, safe around kids and pets. And then the Erica palm is also non-toxic and safe around kids and pets. And I wanted to talk about the NASA study. Now, I know I don't really take NASA's for really anything. I always hold it with a grain of salt because it's never a straight answer. But I did think the plant study was pretty interesting, and it you know, they studied some common house plants and what they pull out of the air. So I'll drop a link in my description, and you can go read that report. One of the plants that I forgot to talk about here is the golden pothos. This is an extremely common house plant. I mean, you've probably seen it at other people's homes at one time or another because it's just so easy to deal with. As you can see in my picture, the pot is absolutely tiny compared to the plant. You know, it's a massive vine, and the vine just grows and grows and grows as much water as you give it. And again, I have never fertilized it, just hung it in the window and watered it and forgot about it. So it seems to thrive on neglect too. The bigger the pot, the more water it can hold, and it seems it can last a little longer between waterings. Mine, it can only, you know, I water mine every day just because the pot is so small and it can't really hold any water, and the plant seems to just soak it up immediately. But that one has been said to be somewhat toxic around children and pets if ingested. The mother-in-law's tongue, which is the snake plant, has been said to be somewhat toxic around pets. Now, this is just what Poison Control told me. So I recommend, if you have any concerns, call Poison Control just to verify they have all the information on the database. It's honestly more reliable than the internet. I found that looking up the toxicity for plants online has kind of been super hit and miss. And because I have children, I really wanted to know what plants were toxic and which weren't, and you know, where to put them in the house and what rooms and stuff. And it's probably something that most people don't even really think about, like, oh, plants might be toxic, you know. It's kind of crazy. So that's something to think about. So again, I wanted to cover all the plants just so you know them. We have the Neanthibella, it's known as a bamboo palm. We have the mother-in-law's tongue, also known as the snake plant. And then we have the spider plant. We have the Erica palm. We have the Chinese or lucky bamboo. And we have the golden pothos. I think that's everything. Start with those plants, and they're really easy to care for. So if you're just getting into indoor gardening or indoor plants, those are the easiest to care for. Just get some organic potting soil you can get at your local nursery. You know, just walk up to your local nursery. You know, support a local business if you can, and you know, just ask them, hey, I want to buy some house plants. I've never done this before. What do I need to do? They'll walk you through it. They're really cool about that. And really, like I said, the number one thing about houseplants is just do not overwater them. Give them a pretty good, healthy soaking twice a month. That will just really, you know, well hydrate the plant. So you don't want to put them in drought stress where they just feel like they're living in a desert. They don't looks like, you know, they look pretty crappy if you do that. The leaves start to dry out and stuff. So give them a good healthy soaking, like set them on your porch and just really drench them with water. But again, make sure that the pots are very well draining and fast draining, and you know, they'll be fine. And then just lightly water them 2 to 3 times a week. And that's pretty much it. Honestly, plants are, you know, they're weird, interesting, I don't know if you would call them beings or living organisms. They pick up on your vibration. There was a study done, which I'll attach a link in the description, with a lie detector study on plants, that they're perceptually aware. So you might find that some people have a green thumb and some just are plant killers. And it could be that if they're doing everything exactly the same way, it could just be that their vibe, you know, again, you want to be conscious of your vibration as a person, because you want the plants to complement your environment, not work against you. So it's interesting. It's something to experiment with. And whatever you do, don't water your plants with tap water. If you wouldn't drink tap water yourself, plants prefer to not drink tap water. You know, the salts tend to build up in pots really easily, and it just, you know, with the fluoride and all the chemicals in it, it just tends to decline. Plants outside, water soaks into the ground really easily, and so a lot of the salts and the chemicals just soak deep into the ground away from the plant, and the plant soaks up the water. So it seems to work, you know. Spraying plants outside with tap water seems to work, but indoor plants, they tend to just decline after a couple of years of watering them with tap water. There's somebody I've met before. They had a couple of house plants, and they were no gardener or anything, but they were on, you know, unchlorinated, essentially well water, and they had been watering their plants like that for decades, and they were doing just fine. But if you water them on tap water, you'd be lucky if you got a couple years out of your plants before they just start dying from the salts and the poisons in the water. So that's something to think about. The next tip I wanted to go over was putting fans in your windows. And putting fans in your window is a very effective way to blow out your home. This is the best way to mechanically or physically remove toxins or contaminants from your environment. Because dust and other things tend to just collect and build up over time. Even if you keep your house relatively tidy, it's been said that the air quality can be up to 6 times more toxic and concentrated than the outside ambient air. So to really, you know, purify your indoor environment, I recommend putting a couple of fans in your windows, and then going to the opposite side of the house and opening a window, like open a window in your kitchen or open a window in your living room and put the fans in your bedroom or something, and leave the doors open and allow a cross draft to blow the dust and the indoor contaminants out. of your home. And now, you want to secure, you're going to want to secure a lock against the fan. So this is the back side of the window. It's pressing against the fan, and you want to lock it down while holding it against the fan, which you can't see on the screen, but it's off this direction. The fan's over here. And you just want to hold the window and put your window lock on it, because this is going to secure it so you don't have your fans falling down, which, you know, who wants a fan falling down? And there you go, just like that. Now that you got your fan all secured, you can take your second fan and essentially just stack it. So now you have a little slot in your window, and it should fit right in there. And when you turn this on, it's just going to blow in. See if I can find my power strip. So you just have a power strip right here, and you should be good to go. Just like that. Of course, I got to turn them on, but now you have a wind wall in your house. It works really well. It works really well to blow things out. So to really maximize the draft, you want a cross flow. So generally, you just want to open your window on the opposite side of the house, because now air is escaping. It's going out that way, and it's coming in from the bedroom where the two fans are set up. And this is provides an exit. This is the cross draft, and it works really well. And that also leads me into the next piece that I wanted to talk about, which was the Breezometer real-time air quality map. This thing is awesome because you can just type in your city or zip code, and it will show the live air quality anywhere in the world in your city. So if you have any question, am I bringing in really nasty air? Is there something polluted outside? You're not sure if you're bringing in something gross outside. You can use this to kind of determine when the best time to open your windows and put the fans in to draw in air. And I found that just opening the windows isn't usually enough, because the fans actually put pressure into the home from the outside, and they really draw air from the outside and just, move it through the home instead of just kind of sit there and sift back and forth with the wind. But it just actually creates a consistent flow of fresh air through your home. So that's why I use the fans. I've noticed a dramatic reduction in allergies. Now, of course, it depends if you have seasonal allergies. At the time, usually in the spring, a lot of people might have trouble with that. You can put a filter on the backs of your box fan, and that helps some people. I don't, so I just blow in fresh air, because I've actually found that I have more sensitivity to most buildings myself than outside. And again, if it's clean outside, if you can purify your air by drawing in fresh air with your fans, on clean days, it's going to be massively beneficial to your home, because you're going to push out all the dust, the mold spores, built up toxins that you've carried around in the air, and they just pushes them out, the next open window. So it's worked awesome for me. I'm sensitive to indoor contaminants, so I wanted to share this to help you. I stack them, but if you lock them down, they don't fall out. And if you have a smaller window, like you can see here, I have a 20-inch window, which ironically also fits a 20-inch box fan. You can just park it right in there and turn that bad boy on and open your back door or your kitchen windows, and you can really move some air in your home. And again, the air quality meter will kind of help you determine that. And one last thing I wanted to go over was, being conscious of your neighbors and their activities. I'm sensitive to most laundry soaps. So when my neighbor is doing their laundry, their dryer puts out laundry exhaust. And the laundry exhaust actually can come around into your home if you have your fans on and you're blowing this toxic shit in your house. So be mindful of when your neighbors are doing their laundry. If you smell scented laundry soap, you go, maybe not a good time to run the fans, because you're drawing in that toxic shit from their laundry exhaust. Because it's actually been discovered that most laundry soaps have more chemicals and carcinogens than tobacco, which is just totally ridiculous, and nobody is talking about this. And that leads me into the next thing. I really recommend you guys ditch scented and most conventional laundering products. And I wanted to point you to ewg.org. This will help you make informed decisions on the toxicity of your common household products. Anything from dish soap to laundry soap to shampoos, this will give you a toxicity profile and will really break it down. You can enter in the name of a product and it will tell you the toxicity, and there are also alternatives on there. I personally use, for my laundry soap, I use Ecos laundry soap because I just really don't have time to make my own, but it has a relatively low-ish toxicity. It's not the best, but it's a lot better than per se something like, I'm not trying to name out brands, but it's something like Tide or something like that. They're just very toxic, soaps. And you want to get away from that kind of, corporate shit. That stuff, you pour it down your drain, it's also going to harm aquatic life downstream. So that's something to think about as you walk your path to being more conscious. And you want to be more conscious in your environment too. So between having houseplants and having fans, this will greatly help you on your path to living a cleaner life. And check out EWG. It's an awesome resource, and it really breaks down the toxicity, the carcinogenic risk of each product. I try to go for products that don't have carcinogenic risks, because why the hell do I need cancer risks? I mean, I feel like once you start living a healthier lifestyle, you start eating organic, and you start being conscious of yourself and your environment. You also want to, you start becoming conscious of the products you put on your body, because your skin will absorb 60% of whatever you put on it. So that's something to think about. So if you put, your laundry, if your clothes are doused in toxic chemicals, you're going to, if it comes in direct contact with your skin, 60% of whatever comes in contact with your skin will be absorbed into the bloodstream. That's mind-boggling. You don't want that shit in your bloodstream. So start being more conscious of the products you put on and what you use in your household, because it's affecting not only the earth but animals downstream, and it also affects this air quality in the city. Think about it. If everyone stopped using toxic laundry soap, how much cleaner right off the bat the city would be. The water supply would be less strained, because even water treatment plants don't even necessarily remove these chemicals. So it's definitely something to really give some conscious thought about. And I hope this video helps you along your journey in leading a cleaner life. And every day, just keep eating organic food. Avoid genetically modified organisms. There's no way in hell we were meant to eat that stuff. Be conscious of the products you put on your skin, of the products you use in your home. Blow out your home regularly with fans, because buildings are inherently toxic. The building materials, things like fiberglass and things like that, are just detrimental to our health. So keep that in mind. Building materials are going to naturally pollute the indoor environment, and plants and ventilation through fans really helps with that. And again, you can use the air quality monitor to really get an idea of when a good day is to open your windows and turn on the fans. So I certainly hope this helps you guys out, and if you have any more questions I will gladly, answer them to the best of my abilities. I want to release another video on environmental illness and kind of go into sick building syndrome, which is a totally hidden epidemic going on right now, and talk more about that, and get into that whole can of worms another time. But for now, start with the plants, start with the fans, switch your soaps, switch your products, go check out EWG, and start living a cleaner life today. And I hope this helped you.